Hi, welcome to my mental health series. Today we're going to talk about empathy, personal boundaries, self-love. So we talk about people being too empathic and giving people a lot of chances. And what do they end up thinking? Let's talk about someone getting into a relationship and then one of the parties who might be a narcissistic person, and they start with a sob story about how hard their childhood was, how the parents didn't care, or how the ex-partner cheated on them, things like that. And then they will start testing your boundaries, and the person who has the lowest boundary will be their next victim. So when does empathy look like empathy? And it's not empathy at all. People who lack self-love, who do not have their own boundaries, will feel that they're highly empathic people. Now, this is very controversial. We have always heard that, yeah, you do feel like you're empathic. You probably are. But then, are you really? What does empathy mean? Empathy means you put yourself in someone else's shoes and imagine how life feels as that person. But they put you in the wrong shoes and you fail to imagine how life is as the victim. So that empathy is half-hearted. That probably is looking like empathy in the form of lack of self-love, lack of self-boundaries, respect. So people who have gone through some kind of trauma in their life, they probably don't even understand that they've gone through some trauma, and they start looking for that kind of attention, that love, and anything that they get will be from most likely a narcissist, because there are more narcissists than we know and more common than we think. So they're always looking for some kind of victims. It could be an online relationship, an online transaction, a personal transaction. They're everywhere. They're looking for the next victim, and the person with the lowest amount of self-love, the lowest self-boundaries, like the boundaries for respect, that person becomes the next victim. And then comes the cycle of taking them for granted. They start with a big dream, and you'll more likely hear these people talk about their relationships as fairy tales. This is where I have seen most of the relationships going wrong. If one of the partners thinks it's a fairy tale wedding, fairy tale relationship, it probably isn't. It is just the dream that they're living. And as time goes, the dream becomes bigger, but the actions become smaller. The good actions. The bad actions from the narcissist partner become bigger. And that's when the other party, who is the victim, who was already vulnerable, who already had a broken threshold from someone else, now starts to feel empathy fatigue, because they have forgiven this new partner over and over and over. I'm talking about things everyone knows about, so let's not get into what happens. We've spoken about this before. So they have forgiven the narcissistic partner over and over. Things have gotten bad. There is abuse. So it could be financial abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, all sorts of abuse. And the victim now faces a point in their life where they call it empathy fatigue. It means that I am done. I am done understanding what the other person feels like. But there comes trauma bonding, there comes physical symptoms, there comes depression, anger, grief, all sorts of the wrong things that shouldn't have ever happened with the victim, and the narcissist very cleverly just leaves the relationship and jumps on to the next victim, because this is what they're made to do. This is what they think is the right thing to do. But what happens to the victim? Their life, they think, is destroyed. They think they cannot find anyone else. Their dream, what the narcissist showed them, is shattered. So some people will now resort to learning about mental health or going spiritually in the spiritual way, or some people will start looking for other hits of dopamine, serotonin, the happiness hormones from, let's say, other relationships or other people, or painting, drawing, creativity, or they'll just seclude themselves, or they'll just start splurging more money on shopping, anything that makes them feel that, okay, takes the burden off their mental state. So those who are actually going to start learning about mental health, this is where I would highly encourage that that's the right thing to do, because then it stops them from going into a further relationship where they find another narcissistic partner and then they're doomed again. So it's so important to learn about mental health these days, because it's no longer like a news in the newspaper where you just read about one person just got into a bad relationship and they died either because of mental health issues, or the other person killed them, or sinister issues, or the less sinister issues. And it's so common these days. So it's very important that we start teaching our children as well about mental health issues, about what's out there in the world, because the children, when they grow up, they suddenly just feel like, oh my God, no one told us. Because I have seen this through my own eyes. The people who are out there, I'm not saying all of them, many people who are out there trying to counsel others, they just don't know what they're talking about, because they've never been through something like this. They read the books and they're just judging you as a case. So you speak to them and you request for a counseling and you say, this happened with me and that's how I feel. Please tell me how I get out. What I was told was, I don't know. I don't know what to do about it. You're right in feeling these emotions. You are okay to feel what you want. And that for me was a big setback. Because now you feel like someone out there might actually help me understand what's happening with me. Victims all over the world will feel the same. And when others tell them, get over it, you should not have fallen into that relationship. I always told you he was a bad person or she was a bad person. You were so desperate to get married, or you were so desperate to make that purchase. We're talking about any mental health issue. Now you see this happen with you. Now you see this. And then the worst of all comes when they say, let's say if a broken relationship happened and the victim is now already broken, and the society will tell you, what? That it happens from both the ends. So they'll tell you that you were also at fault. Yeah. The fault of this victim was only to put faith into the wrong kind of person, nothing else, because they gave them everything. In terms of narcissistic abuse, let's talk about that specifically. These partners were dealing with the people who have criminal tendencies, who have like the most notorious, most sinister kind of tendencies, which you probably have never even thought about. These people were not trained about it. And that's why I've started this series, because I think it's so important to create awareness. I'm not a doctor, as I mentioned. I only learned personally through my own life experiences. And then I started learning about the human body, the human brain, narcissistic abuse, how it's affecting me physically, mentally, and how I am trying to get out of it. I'm trying to heal out of it. And before you say you're trying to heal out of it while you're making videos, let me tell you, no one in this world is ever healed. Everyone is going through their own journey. No one is ever healed. No one is perfect. So I am just doing my own bit, just trying to make this world a little better. And if someone who's listening to me wants to reach out, we can maybe start a community online, talk about it openly, where we support the brothers and the sisters and the friends, and let's talk about it more openly. Let's educate our children more openly. It's not a talk about shame. Shame is when you fail to tell your children what the right thing is. That is shame. When your child comes back to you crying and they ask you, how do I handle this situation? And you ignore them and you move away because you don't know how to deal with something yourself, and you tell them to get over it, that is shame. So where I got this power from, my parents never told me that. I may have made some mistakes choosing wrong people in my life, but my parents never turned back to me and said, look, I already told you he wasn't the right person. Now you're divorced and now you need to go through the repercussions yourself. No, they just had like the most, if I think that they were strict as parents, I never really thought this is how things would turn out. If I thought that if I messed up somewhere, if I made a wrong decision, if my marriage didn't work, I thought that they'll probably turn their heads away, but no, that didn't happen. And that for me was my biggest strength, because when I hear a lot of people going through something like this and they say, my parents just say, go through this because you're married, what will the world say? What will the people say? What will the society say? You're divorced once, you're divorced twice, some people are divorced thrice. They're going to think that we did the wrong thing. They're going to think that you did something wrong. Do you really care what people think? Because people can think whatever they want. They don't know your life. They don't know how you survived. They don't know what your circumstances were. And if anyone says anything, just point your fingers at them and ask them, do you live your life according to what I feel is right? The answer is no. Why do you care about what others say then? Why? So be the right kind of parent, be the right kind of friend, be the right kind of relative. If someone comes to you and says something hinting about like a sinking mental health, just speak to them saying you're there to help. Maybe give them a few examples of how you tried to escape things and what things worked for you. But if you think you're too, let's say you're too vulnerable and you yourself do not have the kind of guidance, then don't. Just point them to the right direction. I'm in the UK, you can speak to Samaritans, you can go to your GP and open up like a mental health conversation with them. Speaking to the Samaritans is 24 hours and it's free. So you call them, they listen to you. They won't tell you what to do though. But sometimes you just need to vent out. Sometimes even that is the best thing you can do. Vent out, don't make any wrong decisions and speak to someone. And then when you feel like, okay, if sometimes when you start educating yourself about abusive partners, about what they do to you, about what the abuse does to you, how the abuse destroys your body, what the stress does to your body, your mind, your brain, your actions, your behaviors, everything. Sometimes it becomes a bit too much trying to understand what this does. It really is like dependent on you. I, for one, would love to understand more about what these things do, because I would like to talk about it openly. I don't have a lot of friends, but I do talk about it very openly without the fear of judgment. So if you think that no, you do not feel like that learning more about this is going to help and you're too vulnerable and you feel like no, it's going to cause you more stress, then don't learn about it yet. Just give yourself some time. Don't even put that expectation on yourself. Just be aware that you need to go to the right person. One thing you should be very aware of, who you are vulnerable with. When you go through a hard time, you are only thinking about that 24/7. You're not able to sleep thinking about it, and then whatever you tell your friends, your family, parents, anyone, is only about whatever you went through, because that's exactly what you're thinking about. Your mind is in stress mode, it's in fight or flight mode, it's only thinking about how to survive. So you are highly vulnerable if you're going through something, and it could be a narcissistic abusive relationship, it could be a physically abusive relationship, it could be an abusive parental relationship, parent-child relationship, it could be a financial difficulty, it could be anything, mental health. Everyone has a mind, everyone has a brain, and everyone is susceptible to getting some highs and lows in their lives, and it affects everyone mentally. So you are going to think about that 24/7, trying to survive out of it. Just be very careful about who you open up to. Sometimes you open up to the wrong kind of people, and then what they do is they will actually look at you like they're vultures. They'll look at you like you're a piece of meat, and they'll try to take advantage of you. I'm not saying physically, it could be anything, financially as well, emotionally as well. And they might actually try to introduce you to the wrong kind of the world, the dark side of the world, because they think that you are vulnerable enough and you do not have the boundaries in place. But that's why I tell you it's so important to learn about it, because once you learn about it, that's when you know what your lack of boundaries did to you. What you thought was your empathy, what you thought was your positive mindset actually brought you down. Now you choose to be empathic with who you think is the right person. Now, if you ask me, if I was to see someone was going through something wrong, and if I knew the background, and I would then still feel emotional about it, knowing what they have done to someone else, I would still feel emotional about it. That's not the correct way of applying empathy, because I should not be even thinking good about, let's not say good about, let's say I should not be siding anyone who has done anything wrong, knowingly, intentionally, with someone else. Once a person is doing something wrong with anyone, be it a company, be it a group of friends, their wife, their children, their friends, they can't choose to be a better person with anyone else. That's exactly what they're made of. So if they're going through something painful, just pray for them and let it be. You don't have to practice empathy with them. Now, when your boundaries are up, your empathy will lie with someone who actually went through pain. Because sometimes when we are happy in our life and we see someone else making mistakes, we just laugh at them and we think, oh my God, this is stupid. But no, you don't know what the circumstances are. So when you say, what will people think, and I'm afraid of what will people think, don't be one of those people for someone else's life. Don't be the source of judgment for someone else, because you're not perfect. You're not standing in the middle of the road asking what kind of life I should live. Please tell me. No one does that. So don't worry about what people think. Just start learning about what's right for you, standing up for what's right up for you. And don't be one of those people who think that if something else happened with someone else, who cares? Why do I care? At least I'm fine. Don't be one of them, because I've seen way too many times in a lot of countries where I would see people crying in the middle of roads because they're going through something tough, people falling in the middle of the road because they lost their balance and they're in pain, and I see a lot of people just walking past. Lack of empathy, lack of understanding, lack of respect. So if you see your friends doing something like that, it's best to cut off with them. It's important that you keep good friends, the right kind of friends, people who teach you the right thing, people who do not judge you for doing the right thing. Most importantly, when they say, I have friends who don't judge me for anything, then I would think about, okay, what are they not judging you on? Then this person says, well, they don't judge me when I am committing a fraud. You don't need those kind of friends. Trust me, you don't. So you committing fraud first is the wrong thing. So I would never be friends with someone who knowingly commits fraud with anyone. So I don't mind if I lose friends. I don't mind if I am labeled as someone who does not mingle with a lot of people. It doesn't matter. What matters for me is those who have done the right thing, those who deserve that time of mine will be my friends. That's my firm belief. My boundaries, I hope, are higher than before. I hope I don't have to go through those lessons, but I am here to talk about mental health issues in this series. Today we spoke about self-love, boundaries, personal boundaries, and empathy. We'll talk about something else soon. Educate yourself, keep yourself safe, be happy, and heal yourself. Enjoy.